Yes, I started the recording. Hello, how are you?
Hello, Beril. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you for asking. So, we have read another article for this week, and we will
Yeah.
start to discuss about it.
Mm-hmm.
The role of presence in online environment. This is the chapter's name. So, I want to start with talking about the two scenarios which were given by the article. The
Mm-hmm.
first one is about Amanda. She is a student in an online master's program in adult education. And she says that this is her first experience. So she has limited technological skills. So she's worried about the difference between face-to-face education courses and the online courses. She wonders how to interact with the instructor and the other learners since it's an online environment. And she worries about whether this experience would feel real or not. And she used two important concepts, which are being there and being together. We will discuss about them later.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, she beginning to feel lonely and anxious and isolated because it doesn't feel real for Amanda. Another scenario is about Carlos. He's an instructor in a college and he has to give online lessons. He's reluctant to do so because he says his classes are really interactive and include active discussions. He doesn't know about how to adapt his course from face-to-face to online environment, and he asks himself several questions like, how am I going to develop the course? What will the course feel and look like? And how do I connect with the learners, which is the most important one, I guess. Because he sees only the computer and class materials, which is a big drawback for him. So considering these scenarios and our experiences, I want to ask you that why is it important to understand the presence?
Feeling presence and feeling be there is important because, as you know, you can be online in education environment and a course or a lesson from the university lessons. Actually, I want to give from examples from my own experiences. For example, we are getting online the lessons, and if we don't say something, we are like just like a ghost mode.
Yeah.
We are standing in there, and actually it is really important being there because um, feeling like yes, you are in the class environment, you are interaction with your instructor or with your student friends. It is important and it is really useful for cognition development, for understanding this lesson is important for me, important for my development. For example, explaining my ideas, my thoughts, because
And
when
for
you actually when you are speaking in classroom, when you express your ideas, you will be there, but just listening and without sipping, without um, joining the lesson, I don't know, just listening won't be useful and feeling not like the be there or be presence. In my opinion, is that. What's your opinion?
I will add something to your point, then I will talk about my opinion. You said cognitive development is important,
Mm.
and also I think the emotional development important as well
Yes,
under this concept. So I want
yes.
to say that technology gained a great importance in our lives. We are using it more than ever, and we tend to be together with others, even we cannot see them. we try to connect with them through the online
Yes,
environment as well. So
because we are social creatures.
yeah,
We
we are
tend
social. The social presence is really important for this reason.
Mhm.
So to create a presence in online environment, we need to think, feel, and behave differently than we do in the face-to-face environment, because
Yeah.
we need to make an effort to be aware of the intentions of others, about their thoughts, emotions, and behaviors when we are connected with them through the technology or through the internet. So we see the teacher or the learners through a camera with using our computer or mobile phones, let's say, and we cannot see them sometimes, we just hear their voices. So this will probably cause, so it will be probably harder to create a connection between the learners and the teacher. So if this is why it's really important to understand the concept of presence, because when we understand the presence, we can create better, we can design better courses, we can design better activities for the learners. So we can give them active roles, and we can ask more meaningful questions to make them participants, not passive receivers, I guess. So this is why,
I think
yeah.
yes, I agree with you, but people feel then like they are away from the location. There's no basic location, and yes, you're not waking at before the class lesson start, and you don't wear something, and you don't go outside, you don't get on the bus. Yes, of course, it is causes some result of this um,
And I
kind of
think, I am sorry, but these results are both negative and positive for me.
yes, you're feeling like doing nothing actually. Yes, you are open your laptop, you are getting on the online course, but you just listen, and while you're in your room and next to your bed, distraction, many things in your environment, but feeling there is students feel like very away from the location, and their most important and most distraction things, there's not exactly and a location maybe, so that teachers and students should be accessible. How accessible? For example, and reinforcement maybe they giving them, or they exposed to speak. And I think in my mind, if I been an instructor of an online lesson, I I will force every student to speak, because without speaking in uh, importantly in the language learning,
Yes.
uh, I will force them to speak, and m- making them to accessible actually, presence actually. Yes.
Yeah, when you're trying to make them speak, trying to make them participant, it will create involvement, awareness and understanding, I guess, which we need to have while we are creating a presence in the online environment. So I think, yeah, like you said, online education gives us more flexibility and more freedom in terms of time and location, but you may feel like you don't you don't in the classroom environment, let's say, because we had the same issues last year. We started to do online education, and I in the first time I felt like I'm not in the classroom, I'm not connecting with the teacher, not I'm not connecting with the learners. It was a really, really different experience. So it takes time to for me to get used to this kind of environment. So yeah, the presence understanding the presence and trying to create it is
Yes,
really important.
actually you have already know your classmates, your instructor, you know every kind of things about them, your voices, your shape of face. But getting the online education, you get shyer, and you
Yes.
really, I don't feel like that. They don't need to see my face. They don't hear my voice, and without them, you cannot understand, or you cannot um, be feeling like involvement the lesson.
Yes, because we are used to the face-to-face education. This is
Yes.
why understanding the presence is really hard for us. Actually,
Yeah,
I even didn't know about this concept before I read about this article.
yeah, and in the first times I feel shyer really while I'm asking this teacher something. I prepare myself, and I'm always do that.
Yes.
It's unnecessary actually. Without doing this, and we can connect with our instructor actually.
It's
And
interesting because some students feel more relaxed while they are receiving an online education.
yes, but I don't know. I'm feeling like this, and maybe there is no eye contact. There is no
Maybe,
mimics.
yeah,
I don't know why I'm
it
feeling
is
like.
because of that. So,
Yeah.
I want to say that under the topic of creating a sense of presence, there are two important um, things which are being there and being together. I want to discuss those concepts more with you. Um,
Mhm.
I want to start with what does being there mean. So it's about telepresence, and it actually means that being present in a location, um, as in a classroom environment, you actually being present in a physical environment, and you are receiving a face-to-face education. So that's why I'm not sure how can we achieve this in online education, because being there, like I said, you need to be there for this.
Don't, yes,
It's one of
you're
the
not
things.
being there.
Yeah, it's one of the things why Amanda in this scenario feels isolated, because she doesn't feel like in the classroom. This is one
Yeah,
of my problems when I started to.
maybe it's focus on the mentally being there.
Yeah, yeah, actually, I think it's related with the concept of presence. Actually, you
Yes,
you may not be physically there, but you can still be there with your mind, I guess.
yes, and
And also there
yeah,
is being together, which is about social presence. Um,
yes, you feel like being together, but not actually being together because of the restriction and in the social environment. I don't feel like being together. Yes, we are being together because of the main gain, maybe, but I don't feel like everyone is an individual for their his or her own duties and his or her own thoughts and ideas in the online education, and we are shaping like the instructors way, and I don't feel yet really together. What do you think about it?
I think that, I mean, being together is actually about interaction with others in the online environment. It's about
Mm-hmm.
interaction and communication, which is really important. because as you know, it's a little bit harder to connect and interact with the people in the learning community, uh, such as the instructor and the learners. So I think we try to design our courses according to this. We, as teachers, need to try to make students more involved, more participant, in order to make them more interactive. Because when they interact with each other, they can also learn from each other, which is really
Yes.
important.
For example, in formal education, we in the during the lesson we can get a group and 4 or 5 participants, and we can discuss something. But in this online education, actually, we cannot turn on our microphone at the same time because of there is some kind of bad voices, and so that actually while your instructor's microphone turn and 2 or more people cannot turn on their microphone because of there is a kind of pollution of voice, and so that it's cannot making some group activities in the online education.
Yeah, I think like you, I agree with you. I think it's harder to um, do group works during the lessons while you're in the online education, because in the classroom environment, in the physical one, you divide into groups and you talk with them face to face. The specific students talk with them face to face, but in the online environment, it's harder to do that because it's harder to divide them during the lesson hours, let's say.
Yes. Yeah, actually, in a wider scale, we can see that uh, we just expose our instructions, thoughts, ideas, descriptions, nothing without something, because there's not discussion environment. And in a formal life, in a formal education, while instructors say that this, and behind the desk, hocam, do you
Yeah,
think that is like this? But there's nothing like that in online
yeah,
education.
it's easier to connect with the teacher
Yeah.
and the learners in the face-to-face one. It actually, yeah, it's easier. It's easier to do that.
Yes, we cannot see different sides, different kind of thoughts and ideas in online education. Actually,
Yeah, I want to add something. Actually, I think one of the reasons where there is a lack of presence in online education, it's because it is not naturally happen. We need to make an effort for this. So students may be not participative during the online educations when they are not given roles by the teacher, uh, because teacher can only speak during the online education. He or she may not ask questions during the lessons. Uh, so as I mentioned before, you need to design your online courses with considering the presence and the learner's needs. Like this way, you can make them aware. You can create awareness, understanding, and involvement. With this way, you can create the presence actually. Um,
yeah. Actually, awareness is the most important thing, because this platform is useful for you. You need to understand that firstly, and
yes, actually,
while
it's useful.
while you while you involve here, you get more be kind of create your creativity maybe develop, or your knowledge about the topic is developed, kind of, or so that awareness is most important thing for me.
Yeah, I agree with you, because right now I think about the student. I am still a student. If I involve with the lessons, I'm talking about in terms of online education. If I involve with lessons, I would feel more present during
Mhm,
the learning hours.
mhm.
Because if I only hear or listen to the teacher, I wouldn't care about the lesson that much. I just only watch the recording, because it would feel like to me like watching a YouTube video if I want to involve
So,
the
so
lesson.
that content's so important actually.
Yeah.
For example, interesting contents. It's important for the um, aware of the students' interesting. It's important also.
There is
Mm,
another important thing, the difference between engagement and presence.
mhm.
Do you want to share your ideas about this topic?
Uh, yes, I would. Presence have uh, presence includes dynamics and interplay of thoughts, emotions, and behavior as they interact online environment. And engagement is a kind of participation of instruction with students and students with interaction with the other students. And it is the online education. But presence dynamics, presence don't occur without dynamics.
Yeah.
Um, so this presence and engagement are bound with themselves actually.
Yeah, I was going to talk about the same thing, as it is mentioned in the article. The presence means a dynamic interplay, a dynamic interaction, actually, of thoughts, emotion, and behavior in the online educational environment. So, as it says, it's a dynamic. If there is presence, I can act with my thoughts, emotions, and behaviors, but engagement is more like a part of a presence. It's an aspect of a presence. Uh, so it's all about participation. So so the presence is a wider concept, while engagement is only a part of the presence, I can say.
Mhm.
So there is one more topic we need to talk about, because I think this is really important. It's under the topic of understanding presence. There are three of them: the social, the psychological, and the emotional aspect. Uh, do you want to start with the social aspect, or I can share with my thoughts?
Actually, I can social aspects kind of people, yes, social creatures, and so that in main thing as actual social aspect is kind of real things. And yes, you are not in the classroom environment and you are at online education environment, and this is not a kind this is not seems like the real for you, but when you feel like this is real for you, it's will be more successful and useful things for you actually. And my thoughts is kind of
Yeah, I think social aspect is about the students, the learners want to be perceived as real. Like
mhm,
as Amanda mentioned in the scenario, she worried about whether this experience would feel real or not, because the online environment may not felt as real by the learners.
mhm,
Because I mean, you are sitting in front of a computer, or you are using your smartphone to attend the lessons. So you cannot see them. You cannot see the teacher, the instructor, the learners, and you just want to see real people. So you might lose the connection a little bit with the teacher and the other learners. Because, as you said, we are social creatures, the humans. So we want to interact with the real people in a real environment. So yeah, the social presence is about this, which is really important in the online environment and for the presence. This is one of the most important things, I think, while we try to understand the concept of presence.
Mm-hmm.
So another thing is the psychological aspects.
Mm-hmm. In psychological aspects, defining these kind of word transparency actually.
Mm-hmm.
When you feel like you are in the while you are in the online education environment, and you feel like this is real daily education life, and this is in the classroom environment, and this kind of wall broken, and you feel yourself in the real classroom environment. Actually, I understand it.
Yeah, I think the concept of physical aspect and social aspect kind of related with each other, I guess. So yeah, like you said, I underlined the word transparency in here because the psychological aspect is about transparency.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you get used to the use of technological devices in online education, the technology becomes transparent for the learners and for the teacher as well, of course. And I think we need to get used to the use of the technology because it has a big part in our lives now. We started to use them in education as well, more than ever. So actually it is not a preference now, it's an obligatory, the use of technological devices. And so being online will be more accustomed when the technology becomes transparent and when we are used to it, and you will start to think like I am actually learning rather than thinking about the drawbacks related with the online education. So
It's kind of awareness actually.
yeah, you aware that you need to focus on the actual learning than think about these drawbacks. So like you said, the wall between you and the technology breaks.
Yeah.
It goes away, and you actually become the learner you want, or the teacher you want, the instructor. Okay, the emotional aspect. I'm not sure I understand this concept fully, but I think the main
feeling yourself in classroom.
Yeah, but the main logic behind it, I guess, when we have the emotions, when there are emotions, the actual learning is happening. And you include your emotions into the learning environment, the learning community as well.
Yeah, I'm agree with you.
I'm not, I can't give you details right now because I still have questions about this part. So I think I need to.
It's kind of confusing part of article.
Yeah, I need to search about this part after the discussion, actually.
Yeah. In general, actually, it's express our feelings about online education in this article because maybe you are feeling like you don't feel like the being there or being presence in the classroom environment, And knowing all this information and the process of the online education as students feeling thoughts and their cognitive and emotional development, and these all of them are very useful information for me, and I like this article also.
Yeah, as we discussed, as we mentioned, people are social creatures. But now I think the internet is one of our social interactions as well. And
It's
we
kind
start,
of part of ourselves actually.
yeah, it becomes one of the important parts of ourselves. So because of this, we need to start to understand the importance of presence more, especially for the education, because it's really important to understand this presence and try to be more participative, try to be more connected with this in this online education. So I found the importance of presence after I have read about this article, because honestly I didn't know about this concept and its importance, especially for online education, before this article. So it was really beneficial for me, and thank you for discussing this topic with me.
You're welcome. It was a pleasure for me.
Yeah, for me too. So now I am stopping the recording.
Okay, bye.
See you next week.